how has your military training affected your training / coaching of jiu-jitsu? I.e., more structure, etc.
Well, interestingly, I would say that my military training has made me want to be less structured in jiu-jitsu. It made me want to be less structured in military. The military, the experiences of combat made me want to make training less structured because, again, it goes back to what we talked about last week. I want to train people's minds to be ready for situations that they don't expect. Right. Training the mind is more important than training the body. Now, that being said, of course, you have to have a certain level of standard operating procedures. You have to have a certain level of knowledge. So in jiu-jitsu, you've got to make sure that people have those basic knowledge, the fundamental knowledge. You know, people used to say that when the SEAL teams, and we would teach different tactics, and for a while we were saying basic tactics, like, hey, you need to stick with the basic tactics. And I said, look, these aren't basic tactics. These are fundamental tactics. Right. And that's the same thing with jiu-jitsu. Basic tactics they're not basic. They're fundamental to the game. And then everything else is built upon those. So I would say that my thoughts around jiu-jitsu training are not more structured, they're less structured. And also in terms of the style of environment I like to be in, I like it probably as unstructured, just about as, there's definitely some structure, but I don't like it to be overly structured. I would rather have people with the mindset of self-discipline rather than imposed discipline. So in other words, my students must do as I command, and otherwise you will be punished. That's imposed discipline, and that's not what I'm looking for. That doesn't expand people's brains. It doesn't make people smarter or able to think differently about situations. Instead, it entraps their brain. So I want people to have an open mind when they're training jiu-jitsu. I want them to have their own ideas. I don't want them to follow my ideas. I want them to springboard off of my ideas. And then I want them to give them their ideas back to me so I can springboard off their ideas. That's how you expand your game and get better. And, that means chaos in training. That means starting in different positions. That means using different pacing. Let's do 3-minute rounds. Let's do 1-minute rounds. Let's do 20-minute rounds. Let's do all these different scenarios that get you ready for different situations. Let's use gi. Let's use no gi. Let's put MMA gloves on. Let's hit each other. Let's hit each other during takedowns. Let's mix it up so our brain is constantly constantly adapting to situations that it didn't expect. That's my BJJ training philosophy.
Yeah, you'd think obviously you're this military vet, obviously. You take your class and you're going to be saying, yes, sir, no, sir. But yeah, it's kind of the opposite in my experience.
Yeah. I'm there to teach, not to impose.
What if someone comes in late? How you feel about that?
Come on the mat. I'll show you what you missed.
Better than not coming at all.
Yeah, definitely better than not coming at all. But you think that these guys that have jobs, they're working, they got wives and kids and car accidents, and guy shows up late for class. Thanks for coming, man. I appreciate it. Get in here. I'll show you what you missed, and let's roll. Yeah. I'm not thinking that the guy is in a military organization that is missing his movement to go on an assault. Right. No, that's not happening. The guy is a human that's got a life, and jiu-jitsu, he's there to train. So let's help him train.